Welcome to this lesson on ethical and legal guidelines. In this lesson, we'll be understanding copyright, privacy, and data protection. We'll also be discussing best practice and legal consideration, and also handling negative feedbacks and crisis. Now, in the realm of social media management, understanding and respecting copyright, privacy, and data protection laws are crucial in maintaining ethical standards and legal compliance. This lesson explores the key aspects of these areas and how to apply them to social media. Now, copyright. What is copyright? Copyright is a legal right granted to the creator of original works, such as literature, music, and art, including digital content. So it gives the creator exclusive rights to use, distribute, and modify their work, typically for a limited period. On social media, copyright ensures that content creators retain control over their creations and can benefit from their work. Unauthorized use of copyrighted material can lead to legal consequences including takedown requests, penalties or lawsuits. On social media these days you see people using other creators' content without acknowledgement. Some of them even use other people's content for monetization. Now this is wrong and there are legal consequences that you can attract to your brand. So if care is not taken, your brand is going to get flagged down and there are penalties and even lawsuits when this right is broken. Now we also have privacy. Privacy in the context of social media refers to the control users have over their personal information, how it is collected, used and shared by social media platforms. So social media platforms collect vast amounts of personal data including location, preferences and interaction. Ensuring privacy involves implementing certain and policies that allow users to control who sees their information, what data is collected, and how it can be used. Breaches of privacy can lead to identity theft, harassment, and loss of trust in the platform. So, when it has to do with privacy and social media, you have to be careful of what you put out there. You have to be careful of the data you put out of your data of your customer. If you are in a brand that you have you maybe you're a makeup artist or a brand that a beauty brand that you have to do before and after kind of stuff. In terms of privacy, you should be sure that your client or your customer is comfortable with you putting their pictures out. So you have to be concerned about privacy and also data collection as well. That's something you have to put in mind. Then in terms of data protection principles are guidelines designed to safeguard personal data. So social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter and others have responsibility to comply with data protection laws. So they must implement robust data protection measures, provide clear privacy policy, obtain user consent when necessary, and allow users access, correct, and delete their data. That's why you see on social media platform, you can delete your social media account, you can deactivate it, and stuff like that. You can correct your bio, you can edit your name, I know that's just an overview of data protection. So you also need to protect your client's information unless you have their permission to publish. So if you have information about your client, their phone number, their names, their images, you make sure that you're protecting their data unless you have the permission to put it up on social media. Now, what are the best practices and legal consideration? When it comes to copyright laws protect original works such as text, images, videos, music, and software. On social media, using copyrighted content without permission can lead to legal action, including takedown notice and lawsuits. So it's essential to respect creators' rights and obtain necessary permission or license. So even if the creator is a user generated content, you have to make sure that you take permission from the creator before you publish it on your own page. So ethically, it's important to credit the creators properly and avoid plagiarism. So if a creator creates something and you like it and you want to share it on your page, make sure that you add the credit to the caption that this content belongs to so person. Using content responsibly helps maintain trust and respect within the community. So don't go about collecting people's content and not giving them credit at all. If you really like their content and you want to, post it and you want it to be like your original work, you have to recreate yours and maybe add some trick twist here and there. But it's also important to add ethically that okay, this content was inspired by so person. Especially if you're jumping on trends, it's okay to jump on trends and all of that, but not copying what somebody else has put out there. Some people even go as far as saying it's their own original content. That is not correct, and you could face legal action if you're not careful. Now, in terms of privacy, privacy law requires platform to protect users' information and provide control over its collection, use, sharing. Violation can result in legal penalties and loss of user trust. So ethically respect users' privacy means being transparent about data practices, such as securing personal information and respecting users' preference for data sharing and visibility. For example, like the example I gave earlier about showing customers or clients before and after. If they're not comfortable with you showing their before and after, you have to respect their privacy and don't disclose that information to the public. You have to take permission from them before you disclose their information. Don't disclose their WhatsApp number. When you screenshot reviews and then you see the number out there and then you post it on social media, it is wrong. You have to protect their privacy by all means. Now, in terms of data collection, in terms of data protection laws mandate that platforms handle personal data lawfully, friendly and fairly and transparently. So compliance include obtaining users' consent, ensuring data accuracy, and implementing security measures. So ethically, managing data involves prioritizing users' rights, minimizing data collection to what is necessary, and being proactive in preventing data breaches. Clear communication about data use builds trust. So let's say you have a landing page that you're going to be attracting audiences from your social media platform, and they're going to be filling a form and all of those things. You have to be sure that you're protecting their data, and any data that is not necessary, there's no need collecting it. Now, in terms of fair use and fair dealings, these doctrines allow limited use of copyrighted materials without permission for purpose, like criticism, comments, news reporting, and education. So, understanding the specific legal standards in different jurisdictions is crucial to avoid infringement. So, let's say you want to give a comment about a content, or you want to give a news report about a content or something educative. Make sure you specify this clearly in the caption, and you can as well credit the original creator. Ethically applying fair use principles means using content in the way that respects the original creator's work and intention. So proper attribution and non-exploitative use are. So let's talk about handling negative feedback and crisis. Handling negative feedback and crisis is very important. It's very important. There are times when you're going to receive negative feedback. It's best to get prepared for it ahead. So the first thing you want to do is to monitor social media. Use social media monitoring tools to keep track of mentions and sentiments about your brand. So the early you detect negative feedback and respond quickly, the better for your brand. So most times people turn off their notification and they're not always online, and then they have negative feedback, and then before they come back it has already escalated. So make sure you're monitoring your social media platform. You also need to acknowledge and apologize when there's a negative feedback about your products or services. So acknowledge the feedback and apologize if there was an error or misunderstanding. An honest apology can diffuse many situations. You also want to provide a solution, offer a practical solution to the problem, whether it's a refund, a replacement, an additional support. Showing that you are willing to make things right can turn a negative experience into a positive one. So instead of fighting with your customer online, or do having back and forth, throwing words and all that, you want to make sure that you're handling this professionally. You also want to do a follow-up. After addressing the issue, follow up with the individual to ensure that their concerns has been fully resolved. To ensure that their concerns have been fully resolved. This shows that you care about their satisfaction and you're committed to continuous improvement. So in terms of managing social media crisis, you should plan, like develop a comprehensive crisis management plan ahead. This includes clear roles, communication strategy, and predefined responses. And you need to regularly review and update the plan to address new potential risks. So don't wait till you have a crisis before you develop a comprehensive crisis management plan. You also need to monitor, like I mentioned earlier about the negative comment. You need to monitor, your social media platforms to detect when potential crises arise, and when you detect them early, it's easy to handle and manage them. You also want to address you also want to respond to crisis as quickly as possible to prevent it from escalating. So provide an initial response to acknowledge the situation and inform your audience that you are investigating it. You have to do this publicly to drive transparency, which brings me to the next point, which is transparency. Be transparent about what happened, the impact, the steps you're taking to address the issue, to avoid vague statements and provide concrete information. This to provide concrete information. This helps your potential customer, to see that your brand is transparent. This would help you not have any negative branding. Then in terms of communication, keep your audience informed about the resolution. If the crisis has been resolved, keep your audience informed, send out newsletters, post it on social media. Oh, we've resolved this issue. This is how we resolve it. And then try as much as possible to prevent similar issues in the future. Now, in terms of building trust, work actively to rebuild your trust. Crisis can be really deadly and it can bring to the end of a brand. So you have to make sure that you try as much as possible to work actively to rebuild the brand. This includes sharing positive updates, success stories, testimonials to shift the narratives, maintain regular engagement with your audience to show that you are attentive and committed to their needs. So you want to make sure that if a crisis happens, you want to make sure that after the crisis has been resolved and everything, you want to make sure that you rebuild that trust again. Because when brands have issues with crisis, they tend to lose customers. Some even tend to gain customers depending on how it is being handled. So yes, that's it for this lesson. I hope you learned a lot about ethical and legal guidelines in terms of social media management. I'm going to see you in the next one.